Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're heading to Telangana, specifically looking at Warangal. We've got this interesting documentary script as our guide. And our goal, really, is to pull out the most fascinating bits for you. Warangal's past, its present, and how they're, linked.
Yeah, what jumps out right away is Warangal's history as this major power center centuries ago, and you can still sort of feel those echoes today.
Okay, so let's dig into that history. The script really highlights Warangal as the capital of the Kakatiya dynasty. We're talking 12th, 13th centuries. That's foundational, isn't it? What made that time so important?
Well, the Kakatiyas, they were quite visionary, actually. It wasn't just about holding territory. They were innovators, especially with irrigation, huge for farming back then. And they developed this very distinct style in art and architecture that, we still admire.
Right.
And you had figures like Rudrama Devi.
The queen.
Exactly. A really powerful queen, breaking norms. And Ganapati Deva, known for expanding the kingdom and funding all this amazing building. They really left their mark.
And that architecture is definitely a big focus in the script. Things like the Warangal Fort, obviously. Then there's the Kakatiya Kalatharanam, that gateway structure, possibly UNESCO listed, and the 1,000-pillar temple. What makes them so, special?
They're like windows into how the Kakatiyas thought and lived, more than just stone. The carvings, for instance, often show everyday life, religious ideas, gives you a real sense of the culture.
Okay.
The Kalatharanam, those massive gateways, they weren't just for show. They screamed power, grandeur.
Right. A symbol.
Precisely. And the 1,000-pillar temple, that shows off some pretty advanced engineering for the time, plus their devotion. Even sites like Ramappa or Bhadrakali, which are technically just outside now, they clearly have that Kakatiya touch.
Incredible how that physical legacy just endures. So, shifting gears a bit, the script also talks about Warangal's economy today. Agriculture is still big, right? Paddy, cotton, maize mentioned. But things are changing.
Oh, absolutely. Agriculture's the bedrock for many, but Warangal's also making strategic moves towards industry. You've got the Warangal Textile Park, which is pretty significant, building on that historical cotton connection.
Makes sense.
Plus, there's granite, a solid industry there. And interestingly, a growing IT sector, the IT tower, is a symbol of that diversification. It's about creating new kinds of jobs.
So, a real mix of old and new. That leads nicely into education. The script mentions Kakatiya University, NIT Warangal. Sounds like a proper knowledge hub.
Exactly. And they're not just teaching spots. They're driving research, innovation in lots of different fields. Having that kind of brain power concentrated there, it really fuels progress. Tech, medicine, agriculture, it lifts the whole region.
And you need good connections to support all that. The script mentions Warangal's location being strategic, good roads, railways like Kazipet Junction, plus these smart city projects. How does infrastructure fit in?
It's basically the skeleton holding everything together. Good transport helps trade, brings in investment, lets people move easily. And the smart city stuff, that's about upgrading the city itself, making it, a better place to live and work, but hopefully without losing its historical feel.
And you can't talk Warangal without the culture. Festivals like Dathukama, Bonalu get a mention. Folk art, music, food. What's the vibe there?
It's the heart and soul, really. Shows a deep connection to tradition, community. These festivals, they aren't just parties. They're about faith, community bonding, keeping artistic traditions alive.
Right.
And the local arts, the food they give Warangal, its unique character, its flavor.
So putting it all together, Warangal really seems like this place where history isn't just in the past. It's actively shaping what's happening now and what they're aiming for. The script calls it the soul of Telangana, which feels quite fitting.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is seeing how they leverage that past the innovation, the art, the strategic thinking for today's growth. It makes you think, doesn't it? For any place, really. Consider how those deep historical layers influence the opportunities, the challenges, everything. What hidden links might there be between a city's ancient roots and where it's headed now? Something to ponder.